welcome to our fifth and final round of snap keeping with blue-black fairies. I've kind of noticed that I'm not. I haven't had a. I don't know what it is. I feel like it could be. There's three cases, right? So I haven't had a lot of like Thoughtseize Bitter Blossom hands, and it could be small sample size. This is only 5 matches. It could be that I'm keeping looser hands, so I'm mulliganing less aggressively into them. Very possible. Or it could legitimately be that I'm looking at the modern metagame, and Thoughtseize Bitter Blossom isn't as much of a nut draw as just like playing your cards can be sometimes. Any Gitaxian Probe deck, please just come at me with it. Good luck, have fun. I hope you're Storm. How does Storm beat this hand? It's got 1,000 things. They all beat Storm, every one of them. It's like discard spell for your threat, discard spell for your threat, spell snare for your threat, and spell stutter sprite. So infect. This is apparently a pretty good matchup. Pretty sure I'm supposed to Inquisition. This is bad against double Blighted Agent exactly. So there's Nexus, Dismem, Might, well, yeah, I'm just going to take the Agent. Agent just has to be the best card against my deck. Sure. Beatdowns received. Now I have to think about what's going on in this game. So, the Noble's going to be obnoxious here. Kind of want to play this land. I don't know if I want to Thoughtseize. This is complicated. I think I do. And I think I'm supposed to take Might of Old Crozet so I don't die. Like, if I don't take the Might, I die so fast. I just get, like, 6-2-2'd. So I know that my opponent has Dismember, which is fine, whatever. Especially because their creature's this. It'll be obnoxious, but I can block it eventually. I guess really I'm just trying to draw any removal spell here. I'm also okay with killing the Noble Hierarch if I draw Go for the Throat, so whatever. Yep, don't really care. Got some time. This is how the game goes. That's interesting. I actually, if my opponent just attacks me for 2 and passes, I'm going to EOT Cryptic, bounce Noble, draw a card, and then counter it on the way down with Spell Stutter. I think that's the fight that I would like to fight. Six infect is not quite scary range yet. 8, 7, bit more so. Return target permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. Mostly because one of the big things about Cryptic is that it's so hard to use effectively otherwise against Infect. Because like there's a mana efficiency war constantly going on. Ooh, that's a respectable draw. Um, do like leaving up a lot of blue. So I'm going to take the Dismember because I can Sprite the Noble and Spell Center the Blessing. Yeah, I like that. And if my opponent just attacks with this, I'm going to Sprite block. Did I know they had that? Yeah. You know what? I should get my blue source first. I forgot the rules of fighting infect of just again not just don't want to get like trapped on mana in weird spots. This is bad against exact. Well, it's just I have to do this regardless. Does my opponent know about the spell center? Did I have it on one? I don't think I did. Gosh, spell center spreading anything is so good. They let me do this in standard. Why did they do that? And then they let me cast Thoughtseize in standard again after this. Twice. They made the same mistake twice. This is well, they made this mistake first, and then they made the same mistake with this one again. How did? This is why reprints are awkward. Just putting that out there. You make the same mistake twice when you have reprints. It is worth noting that my opponent can force the. I don't. Yeah, I have to do this here. So my opponent has the spell. Yeah. They have the pump spell. They have the pump spell. Well. Nope, 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 nope. Red zone. Then this. No, no, no. You hang out. Infect pays a lot of life for their spells. You get to bring the pain. My opponent's now dead if they fetch, which is great, and they need to bust through a spell skite or a spell setter sprite. That's the phrase. I'm not blocking. It's probably one of the better cards for my opponents to have drawn. Well, both of our hands are tied here, I think. If my opponent has a pump spell, I die. If they don't, I win. I'm dead. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's draw some less lands, play some more things. So E's fine 'cause it kills stuff. Ghost Quarter kills stuff. Disfigure kills stuff. Dispels great here. What am I forgetting? Thoughtseize? There we go. So we don't want this because it doesn't fight well. I think the games are mostly over by the time this happens. I kind of want to board out a Cryptic. I'll leave an of Vision, I guess. And no, like yeah, I like this 6 and this 6. I just line them all up. It's possible that a Mana Leak should have gone. A card gets bad fast here, but I guess on the play I want them. On the draw, I'm going to board out a Mana Leak because it's hard for it to get active in time to interact with infect creatures. Yep. I was just complaining about this, and then I drew the hand. So I have no right to complain ever again. Right? That's how that works? Oh my gosh. There is literally no chance for my opponent this game. If I lose this game, I will just be befuddled. I have all of the interaction and then I get to do it all again and I have the threat and I don't know what could possibly go wrong here. So my opponent has Pierce, Probe, Noble, Ichor, Heath, 2 necks. So I just take Spell Pierce, land my Blossom on 2. And then I just start picking everything off. I guess in theory, if I draw all 4 drops and no lands, I can lose this game. Opponent sequence wrong. They're supposed to Gitaxian Probe before doing anything. I'm making a point of this every time someone does that in Modern so that no one else ever does that. Because that's a very common mistake. If you're going to probe and pay the life, you may as well do it first so you know it's going to happen in case it affects your play. You get plus a card and plus info. Like, my opponent just drew a Spell Pierce here. It's a good chance that they just pass back with a Heath up. I've now established a lot of control of the game. Well, this game is pretty much over off of that. So they have Ichor, Noble, Probe. So I know their hand has another Nexus, and then I don't know their other 4 cards. I think I'm supposed to go after their Infector here. And then Spell Setter Sprite, whatever they do. Just trade for 2 cards. Oh, I have to target not my Disfigure? I guess that could have gotten blown out by Mutagen too, but then they just have nothing and I can play around nothing. Mm. Throw away the black creature so that we can always maintain the split against Apostles. No real points. I guess there is. I do have Ghost Quarter. I'm not going to do that this turn. believe the phrase is false sense of security. Or just very legitimate sense of security. My opponent has a lot of nonsense. Yeah, you can just keep jump blocking. Is Groundsquall even scary here? Um, no, it isn't. It's those. You can keep those. Yeah, the EOT you can keep those with V-Click is just the game's over. It's just so absurd. Your opponent just like you just have everything they have beat. It's just like the strongest signal in Magic. I will continue to throw away Fairy Rogue tokens. Thank you very much. So I could throw the Disfigure of that in response, then lose that to Might. Or I can Ghost Quarter that. Disfigure, put opponent to 2. Or I can just attack Vendilion Click into it. Or I can just draw Thoughtseize and cast it, and then force my opponent to do stupid things. I know 2 of the cards are Breeding Pool and Groundswell. I don't think you want a Dark Blast, but if you had a Dark Blast in your deck, you would crush your opponent here. What's getting dismembered? Vendilion Click. Okay. So I think the correct play for my opponent was actually to animate Inkmoth, Groundswell it, and then after that, oh no, I can just disfigure through that anyways. Okay. Also okay. Okay. I was just going to take it and attack back. Great. Relics, not entirely out of the question because of stupid. Um, what's that card called? +6, but I don't really want to go down that road. There's a non-zero argument for damnation. It's super weird to board in a command instead of a leak here, but I don't like leak that much. Actually, I don't like this. I do like Vendilion Click. I do like getting into combat with that card, actually. I think that card's really important. I shouldn't have boarded down on it. I need the maximum number of ways to pressure my opponent. So this hand has everything unlocked but Ichor Claw Mirror. Snap it off. If I died to Ichor Claw Mirror, that's life. Usually those decks usually have like one or two. They might have a Necropede too. So like I think worst case scenario it's like those three, but I can beat a Nexus. I can beat random creatures with this stuff. I think I'm okay. This hand can certainly fall apart. Is this an elf? Or noble? Okay. This card's actually probably one of the best cards against this deck. Just because the second toughness on your creatures makes it so I have to block in weird ways. Or can't block sometimes. Is this now the beatdown draw? If my opponent plays Blighted Agent, I just snap go for the throat hit. If they don't play Blighted Agent, I then just get into position and kill Noble on end step or counter something. So I don't know how this is supposed to end for them. Man. If only I had Nausea. Is Nausea in the format? Not Nausea. There's Marsh Casualties? Something equivalent to that. I think Nausea was only in 7th edition. Decent draw step. If my opponent's going beat down, I don't really want to snap off Polluted Delta here. I'll take my 2 on the Dryad Arbor in order to have the reactive's position. Okay, well that's gonna get ghost quartered at some point. I think I'm supposed to just kill the noble though. I think waiting on that is bad. I'm gonna trade this for a blessing, but whatever, that's life. Or vines. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot too. I think I'm just supposed to go aggro on my opponent's mana here. Because I have all the threats they can cast from hand on lock. Maybe I was supposed to upkeep. I guess the upkeep doesn't matter if the vines either cost them tapping the Dryad Arbor or tapping their land and then untapping, so it's the same. Yeah, I think this is definitely a mana denial spot, and I think that I'm supposed to counter that. This. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get dismembered. Ugh. That was absolutely the wrong one. Oh, that didn't. I didn't get dismembered. That's so lucky. No, I just need to not get blighted. Yep. Okay. No, I just need to not die to blighted. Also to clock my opponent faster than their agent. I think that's also possible. I think this is a spot because they didn't dismember to break the spell setter for one. I think I'm supposed to just jam Mistbind and hope they didn't draw dismember in their 2 draw steps, because otherwise I don't know if I race fast enough. This is EOT Mistbind I'm talking about. I would never fire Mistbind into this mana. This Delta is supposed to get a swamp because I'm leaving up River of Tears. This turned out okay. If my opponent has it, they have it. I'm trying to think what else they could have. I don't know. If they have a different thing, that's a huge blowout. They they had it. They probably had it earlier and they didn't. They like accidentally F6 through it. Actually, it's like a real thing to happen on Magic Online. That's a good draw step. This figure may have been a little aggressive in that exact spot. My thought was like, I don't want to fight Disfigure Wars later on an actual infect creature when my opponent has mana and I have counters or into Spell Pierce or whatever. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's the threat I need. I don't want to fire off Sprite because I'm so low on cards. I'm going to fight with Sprite here because that's a faster clock. And also, I have to fight over that because it's blocking my actual clock of Mutavault. Oh, I don't want to tap my black mana on my opponent's turn, do I? No, that's fine. I still have a black mana up. I want a Ghost Quarter here because my opponent can't Vines. It does leave me vulnerable to Spell Pierce, but I'm okay with that at this point, I think. I doubt my opponent has another Dryad Arbor to fetch. If they do, they're just crazy. Give them the old slipperoo. Yeah, I think that with my low amount of resources, being able to not trade for vines there is more important. Ooh. Um, I don't think Bitter Blossom does anything right now. I think that putting my opponent to no fetches is more important in the short term. Nice. Okay. Cool.